Let's talk about some of the anatomy of the knee so that if you have not had a total knee replacement, but maybe somebody has told you you're bone on bone or you're gonna have a knee replacement in the future, you kind of understand a little bit better what's going on, what you're feeling, where the pain is coming from. I'm gonna use my Sharpie. This is Tucker. If you guys haven't met him, he's our therapy dog. Let's see if Tucker stays in his spot while we talk. So if you're thinking about a knee before the knee replacement, whether there's been tissue damage, injuries, whether there was an accident or sports, there's a couple structures we want to identify. So the first one, the most obvious one, is the kneecap. This would be called the patella. It's a bone that floats inside the tendon. I'm going to just draw a little line. There's my kneecap right there. Then if we come off to the sides, we have what's called the joint line. So in my knee right now, I've got the medial joint line and I've got the lateral joint line. The bone above is called the femur, the bone below is called the tibia, and the bone on the outside is called the fibula. So what happens is on the ends of the bones, there's cartilage. That cartilage is smooth, it's like porcelain. When you're young, it's slippery, but it absorbs shock really well. It's an amazing invention that scientists have been trying to copy for mechanics as long as I've been alive. There's cartilage on the end of the femur, there's cartilage on the top of the tibia. Then between the cartilage, there's what we call the meniscus. The meniscus are two discs. They're fatter on the outsides and then they taper in. And if you imagine a golf ball sitting on a tee, the tee is very small, the golf ball is very big relative to the top of the tee. The meniscus would be, basically it increases the surface area. It kind of deepens the cup, so the end of the femur, which is round, sits inside on top of the meniscus so that you have better contact between the surfaces. The meniscus can absorb shock. The meniscus is, again, cartilage that's very slippery, almost frictionless. And so over time, because of injuries, the most common meniscus injury is you step and twist. You might get a pop. Sometimes you don't. But what happens is you flip over the meniscus and you create a little tear. So when you hear about meniscus tear, that's what's happening. Sometimes if you palpate along the medial or the lateral joint lines, you will produce pain that might be consistent with meniscus injury, but it's not a very accurate way to test the meniscus. Tucker's getting a little antsy. So the idea with this is, actually let me hit one more structure. Right here we have the patellar tendon. You might hear of patellar tendinopathy or patellar tendonitis. So the patellar tendon comes down and attaches on the front tibial tuberosity, the lumpy bone that runs down the shin. Above the kneecap, the patellar or quad tendon is up here, and then this muscle is the quadriceps. Before a knee replacement, a lot of times what happens is the cartilage on the ends of the bones has worn down or it's been fractured. There are fissures. You're exposing the ends of the bone, which have a rich blood supply and nerve endings, and it's very painful. When they do the knee replacement, they remove the ends of the bone. They put synthetic coverings on top, and then they sew everything back together. So the idea is it's not really replacing the joint. What it's doing is it's resurfacing the ends of the bone. But you still have, in many cases, your original kneecap. Sometimes they put a button or a cap underneath the kneecap. You still have your original patellar tendon. You still have your medial and lateral collateral ligaments. A lot of times the ACL and PCL in the middle are removed, but there are some implants that might spare some of those structures. The bottom line is you still have a lot of the original parts. And so if I right now, I'm 51, if I've gone through a lot of history, tissue damage, things like that, those other parts can still be irritated. They still can be inflamed. They're still going to have 51 years of history in them, even though the end of the femur, the top of the tibia, and potentially the bottom of the patella are brand new. I still have a lot of original hardware in there. So my point in this video really is, one, to give you an idea of the anatomy so you can speak the same language as the surgeon. Two, to remind you that some of the elements have been replaced, but not all of them. There's still a lot of original hardware in there, so don't get too frustrated if you feel like you still have a lot of the pain that you had before surgery, after surgery, because those other structures could be painful. Guys, I wish you the best. If you have questions, let me know in the comments.